Thank you so much.
Good morning.
We here, y'all.
Happy Saturday. Welcome to Becoming Eva.
Yes.
We are in the studio.
We back, y'all. We back. It took us a minute. We had to get ourselves together. We still getting ourselves together, but we back. So thank y'all for tuning in this morning. So a little bit about Women's History. Well, we're in Women's History Month. So a little bit about her story. This, depending on when you watch or listen to this series, Her Story, of course, is in honor of Women's History Month, but it's really about the women that, support those that are around them. Now, granted, we all do that in some way, shape, or form, but we really wanted to hone in on and give flowers to the women that, they constantly do this and they actually live behind the scenes. They thrive behind the scenes. And so we're so excited about today's guest. So, before we introduce her, first off, how you doing, Toy? Tell us about your morning.
My morning. Saturdays when Becoming Eva and Track starts, when we're in the studio, we have to bring all four of the kiddos. So we got to get up early, get them fed, get them dressed, get them halfway looking decent.
Yes.
Get here on time so that we can, make this in-person studio.
Yes.
Make it happen. So this morning has been rough. This week has been rough because I told you about one of my daughter's teachers passed away this week unexpectly, and we were just like, oh my God, when we got the news, when we were dropping the kids off, like the teachers were crying, of course, and processing that with her this week has been difficult. Just the questions that she was asking, like, why do people pass away? Where did they go? Where's heaven? And those types of questions have been a little bit challenging this week. And then, of course, my older daughters kind of understand a little bit more, and so they've been trying to ask those deeper questions too. And one of them started reading this book that I have on my bookshelf, The Divine Revelation of Heaven.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what in the world? Because she's, like 9.
Who's that? Well, I mean, can you tell us anything about the book? I've never heard of it, but the title is so intriguing.
Well, there's the Divine Revelation of Hell and the Divine Revelation of Heaven. I have to look up the author.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I read them several years ago, but the premise of the book is this lady, one night, she, I guess, while she's dreaming, God takes her to heaven, and she gets to see and experience what heaven is. But before heaven, he also showed her what hell was, and so she describes her experiences in the book. So it's very interesting. So she, the oldest one, right? She picked up the Divine Revelation of Heaven. I was like, ooh, I don't know. I put away my Divine Revelation of Hell because I'm like, I don't want you.
Yeah, we don't want to scare you.
We don't want to scare you.
Yeah.
But she just grabbed it, and I was like, where'd you get that book? And she was like, I want to know about heaven. And so she just started reading it. So I thought that was really interesting. So I'm just trying to kind of probe her mind and help her to continue to develop that thirst and hunger to want to know more about God and afterlife, which is very interesting.
That's tough. I mean, talking to youth about life and death, I mean, it's hard enough for us adults to grasp it, but that's parenting on another level, Toya. So kudos for real. But yeah, I would say my week has been full. I feel like literally, and we were talking this week on March 1st, and I was like, okay, we mapping out stuff. And I was like, I honestly can't put anything else on my calendar until the end of March, early April. March is already full. It's March 1st. It's already full. So just praying. I was praying this morning, like, God, help me to effectively manage my time. And then at the same time, identify what needs to come off my plate, what can be done more efficiently, because I know we're in this day and age where people wear busyness like a badge of honor. I'm not one of those people. I'm not trying to be one of those people. I want to fulfill my purpose and my calling and do what God told me to do, but I also know there's value in rest and replenishment, and I know what it takes in order for me to function at my optimal. So just really trying to figure out what adjustments I need to make, because I feel like, gosh, we're already in March and it feels like it's, 2023 just kicked off yesterday. So all that to say, it's been full, it's been busy, but we're here, y'all. So we have a special guest. You ready to introduce our special guest?
Yes, everybody, let's invite Miss Alfie Grant. We're so excited to have you.
Yes, our honorary Becoming Eva member. Yes. Everyone always asks, okay, now aren't there 3 of y'all? And we'd be like, unofficially, there are 3 of us. Yes. Because what y'all don't know, and like I said earlier, we're talking about women that support those that are around them. Alfie is the epitome of supporting those that are around her, and we're going to unpack that today.
Thank you, Maya.
Yes.
Very nice of you.
Yes, but I mean, as it relates to Becoming Eva, she has supported us from day one, before day one, because she's always like, okay, have y'all thought about this? Or, I really enjoyed this episode, or, good luck today, congrats. I mean, like, she is like our, aside, apart from our husbands, of course, she's like literally one of our top cheerleaders. And so just really grateful for you.
Thank you.
And we've been trying to get you on the show for
Yes.
It's season 6 now, y'all.
So I was gonna play a joke on y'all this morning. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't feel good this morning.
No, when you called, I was waiting. I was like, I'll be about to be like, something popped off.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't think it's time to play with them this morning. So I'm just gonna offer some Starbucks and show up like I said I was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know how many times we confirmed with you, right?
You know what?
A lot of times.
Alfie, if you would have did that to me this morning after I got up at the crack of dawn to get these kids ready,
yes, you're right.
to get these kids ready to be here, I probably would have cried in the car.
I could tell that in y'all's voice, like it wasn't time to play.
It wasn't a day. It wasn't a day, and it wasn't a time. It wasn't. So
Next time.
yeah. But we're gonna unpack a little more about who Alfie is and all that she does, but just high level introduction. Alfie Grant is a wife, a mom, an incredible woman of God, a businesswoman. I mean, like, strategist, all of amazing things. I can't even think of all the amazing things you are. We're going to talk about that. But she, a lot of people may or may not know, she is the wife to the 3rd member of Track Stars, Sean David Grant. So we're so excited to have you this morning.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. I'm a big fan of Becoming Eva, so it really is an honor to be here today. So thank you guys for the invite.
Yay.
I appreciate it.
Do you have anything you want to share about yourself before we dive into what's trending?
Just that I'm very thankful to be here today. It's been kind of a hard week. Sean wasn't feeling good at the beginning of the week, and that he had to travel for work this week. So
yeah,
being full-time mom all day was a little bit of a challenge, but thankful that God got us here today and that we're all good. We're all here. So
praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Before we dive into learning more about the amazing Alfie Grant, we got to talk what's trending. So first and foremost, believe it or not, I feel like just a couple weeks ago, we were talking about that Kiki's Prego, and she had the baby, y'all. She had the baby. So she's got a brand new baby boy, and she has been, quick to share that mommyhood is no joke, which I'm sure you two can attest to. So yeah, congrats to her. Her son's name, Leotis Andrelton Jackson. And she's actually been getting shade, as you may have guessed, over the name. Thankfully, she calls him Leo. But yeah, and I mean, I'm curious to know the story behind the name. I don't know. But y'all have named children. Like, talk about that process. I mean, I know it's a very personal process, but it's also a strategic one. So how important is what you name your child?
Ooh, it's very important.
It's extremely hard. Do you want to start?
I would say it's so much you have to think about. You got to think about as they grow up, when they try to get a job. You got to think about resumes. If if their name sounds too black, are they gonna?
Sadly,
You know what I mean?
sadly,
If-
it's true.
If
It's
like,
true.
I mean, like Latoya,
Yeah. Okay.
you know, usually that's a black person's name. Like, well, I mean, I'm just saying, real life,
Yeah.
real life, you gotta think
Gotcha.
about those things. So it's a process because you have two strong-minded
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
trying to come up with a name.
Mhm.
With Ryla, I will say we came up with a name kind of without conflict. We'll say that because we mixed the RY from his name and the
love
LA
that.
from my name.
Yeah.
So we came up with Ryla.
Beautiful.
And then each of the kids kind of have a piece of our names like embedded in their names.
Aww.
So yeah, it takes a while. We'll come up with a list of like possibilities, and then for a couple of them, we're like, well, let's just wait till they're born and look at them. Like if we have like a few names and we still haven't quite decided.
Yeah.
So a couple of them, I can't remember which ones, but we waited till they were born to say, okay,
Gotcha.
this looks like a Mariah or Layla or Mason. I think it might have been all three of them. We waited. I don't remember, but Ryla for sure we knew before she was born.
And I will say one thing I love about what you've done with the names of your children is you like, and at least from what I've seen, and I don't know if you did this with all of them, but I saw you framed like the meaning of their names, which is beautiful.
Yes, they all have this frame thing that we created with the meaning of their name, like where it came from. It talks about their first name, their middle name, and of course their last name.
I love it.
And then their little like a baby picture of them, and it's framed, and we'll see how long they keep it nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell us, your daughter has a unique name. How did you come up with the name Noah?
Well, we like Tori said, we had a lot of names on a board, and we were thinking like, well, again, long term, this is her the baby, this is her in high school, this is the resume, this is her on a wedding day, what does that look like? So it was a lot of thought into it. We started to get some people suggesting names, and so with all those different, pressures.
Yes.
But I happened to read a Bible verse in Numbers, and they had Noah in it, spelled Noah. And I had never seen it spelled in a women's way. I've always heard it Noah. And I love that name for a boy. So when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is it's different, and it's kind of neutral. I have a neutral name. Sean has a neutral name. And so we went with that unisex name of Noah. So it kind of worked out. So
it's beautiful. And I love that passage. I mean, for those of you that may or may not be familiar with that passage, but it's literally a group of sisters that went, they didn't have a brother to inherit their father's land. And so they went and petitioned to inherit their father's land, and they were granted that petition. So just the beauty of like how you're like, you get our inheritance, like regardless, like you get our inheritance.
You're a woman, you deserve it. So
amen.
It really worked out. And then the middle name, actually our first lady suggested I think Gia, because for God is able. But then Sean started to do some research and realized somehow it's related to his name. Like, I think Gianna is like, I want to say the Italian version of his name. I'm not sure. But that one was, and you were calling her Gigi.
We called it, we were planning your shower, and we were thinking Gigi for Girl Grant. So we just started calling her Baby Gigi.
So it all kind of came together. So it was like, this all makes sense. So
we had a hand, Toya. We had a hand, girl. Yes, y'all. Okay, all right. So that's what's trending with Kiki. And then second thing we're going to close. I actually thought about y'all with this topic because I don't remember what year was this, y'all, when we basically bum rushed Track Stars, and we talked about they did a segment on 5 things that aren't sexy for Christian women. So we were like, we're gonna talk about the Christian men. How y'all gonna get away with that? So we just like bogarted the set. We were like, we're gonna talk about the 5 things that make Christian men not sexy, okay? But I thought about y'all because this topic here, y'all may have heard the amazing, the fabulous, the fine, whatever you want to call him, Michael B. Jordan. He's been in the news a lot lately because, of course, Creed 3 is coming out. He's directed it. It's his directorial debut. He got a star on the Walk of Fame. He's doing his thing, right? Doing his thing. So all that to say, he was interviewed by a radio personality called, you can help her, Toya. But he was interviewed by a radio personality called L'Oreal. And so they were talking, and apparently they went to school together in Newark, New Jersey. And so she was like, I know Michael. We grew up together, you know, and back in the day, he was corny. I was like, corny? What in the world? But she was talking about how, you know, even then he was about the business. He was walking around with headshots. He was doing his thing. Basically, he was focused. So apparently his swag wasn't up. Apparently he wasn't hitting the gym every day like he has to now for his roles. And then she said, and on top of the fact that his name was Michael Jordan, we kind of teased him about that, you know, because there's really only one MJ. So all that to say, he was considered corny back in the day. And so we had this conversation, my husband and I, about what makes a man corny. Because, you know, he tends to feel a certain type of way. I'm sure some of our husbands may feel, if not all, feel some type of way with that term, because the whole thing about good guys always finishing last, if you will. So, yeah. So what are y'all's thoughts on Michael B. Jordan being called corny growing up?
I think I was surprised about how angry he still was. I mean, like, I get it. If you're that age and someone of the opposite sex calls you corny, I'm sure that was impactful for him. But he seemed really angry still. Like, that really kind of stuck with him. Mm-hmm. So I was a little like, well, are you? Because you're really angry right now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know him personally, but and it was kind of weird that he was still that angry.
But I guess, do you see why he would have been called corny, or why he would have a chip on his shoulder? No.
What? So I went to a very different kind of high school.
Okay.
I went to a fine arts high school, and so I think everybody's a little strange at my school. And I think it was kind of cool to be that strange. Like, it was like, oh, you're unique, you're creative, whatever. So I didn't have that normal high school experience. I'm not sure if I can really speak to.
Gotcha.
If I don't know. I just think I'm used to corny.
Okay. Well, and I'll pull back the layer a little bit, but go ahead, Toya.
Okay. I just envision Michael B. Jordan like lifting weights, saying, yeah, you think I'm corny, right? You think I'm corny, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as he's like getting his swag and body together over the years, and he's like, I'm like, he's still hurt by that. And I totally get that, because I still remember hurtful things that people said to me, like in middle school and in high school. They talked about me, like about my looks, or like, it took a while before my parents like allowed me to shave, so they would call me like, you hairy monster, like at PE.
Oh, God, with the legs.
Yes, okay. Like, hairy monster, like all this like mean stuff, right? Yeah. And then like I started shaving.
You're like, I'm gonna
shave. And then like I started like playing volleyball and basketball and track, and then I was a cheerleader. And I was like, no hairy monster anymore. You know what I mean? Like. So I get it. Like, it is hurtful when people say things like that. So I guess it's kind of like, now look at me now. You know, I get it. Corny guys, like, I love it. I would take a corny guy over whatever, I guess, whatever their definition of corny is.
I was going to ask, what is your definition of corny?
Yes. What makes a guy to be considered corny?
I mean, well, the worldview might be someone that maybe like in the books, not really like cheating on girls, or, you know, having a lot of interest in girls, like someone that's like, you know, studious.
A square.
Or
a
someone
square.
Someone that doesn't have swag.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So I'm not saying Ryan was a square, because I don't.
I think honestly, out of our husbands, Ryan was probably the coolest, like, as a single. I mean, probably maybe the most confident as a single, I would say. That's in my opinion.
I actually would agree.
Really?
From what I've seen,
He was, and he, I think at one point was like deemed like an eligible bachelor for something. Like, he, you know, he was doing his thing.
So I don't know what he was like in high school. Like,
I don't know high school.
He says like, I don't think you would have liked me in high school, because I dated a football player in high school. So it's like, you wouldn't have looked at me. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. If you were corny, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
That is funny. I just feel like oftentimes guys that are considered corny as adults are the ones that are overlooked, and they're honestly the ones that would make the best husband. Yeah, because to me, the ones with the swag, the ones that are outspoken, the ones that are always flexing and showing off, rarely do they have the substance to back it up. And when I say substance, what do I mean? Do they have the character? Are they a man of God? Or do they take care of their responsibilities? Are they willing to commit to a long-term relationship? Because what I have experienced typically is the person who says all the right things doesn't always do the right things.
True.
Now, you will come across that unicorn where it's like they just match up perfectly. Praise God. If you find them, hold on to them, keep them. But oftentimes, you got to find the person that's the diamond in the rough, the one that says what they mean, does what they said, what they said they're going to do. And they may not have swag, or they may not be as confident in themselves, or everyone may not be flocking around them, but they know how to treat you right. They know how to, take care of a family. So that's just me, though.
I will say, in general, I can't speak for all. I'll speak for me and say, I think it took a little while for me to realize that those ones that are confident, who don't treat you right, who are, popular, they are the corny ones, because they're not doing what they say. They're not being men of God. They're they're just not good people.
Wow. Yeah.
So I just think it took me a little while to realize that is corny, and that what I should be looking for is something that is more in line with Christ.
Come on, let's redefine corny, y'all. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right. And so on that note, we're going to dive on in, Toya. Take it away.
Yes. So we all know that as women in particular, we wear so many hats. Mm-hmm. We have to be able to multitask. Mm-hmm. We've got to be the mamas. We got to be the wife. We've got to be the cooks, the cleaners, mm-hmm. the Uber drivers, like everything, right?
All of the above.
And career women too. Mm-hmm. You got to make some money too. Yes. Yeah. It's so many things, so many hats that we have to wear.
Yeah.
So, Alfie, can you tell the Becoming Eva audience the different hats that you wear every day?
Well, first and foremost, I am Sean Grant's wife. Praise God.
Awesome.
Love him dearly. And so I'm so happy we had a chance last weekend to celebrate our husbands. For y'all that don't know, we had a chance to come together and say to our husbands, thank you for being awesome men of God, and for just leading our household and being fabulous. And Toya and Maya outshined me with their speeches to their husband. It was really messed up because we thought we were going to have something small to say, but
no,
Toya had a magazine.
She went down her back pocket a written speech. Almost like, well, I just wanted to be prepared. I said,
she's going to outshine me in my own house, but that's fine.
Stop.
So yes, I am Sean Grant's wife.
Tell us a little bit about who Sean Grant is. For those who may not know.
So Sean Grant is the host of Track Stars, which is going to be on a little bit. He's also an artist. He's also a photographer.
Yes.
Oh, he's also an amazing dad to our daughter Noah, who loves him dearly. And apparently your kids like him too. They were just chanting his name before he even got here. Uncle Sean. He's a lot of things. Like, he's very talented, but he's just a wonderful husband. Just very thoughtful, very kind, very, I don't know, just like all around just a great person. Someone I love talking to. Like, he's just so intelligent and fun. I'm just very thankful to call him my husband. So he's a really amazing guy. I'm mother to Noah. She's 4 years old now. She just turned 4. I'm very thankful for her. I of course have 2 amazing parents I want to shout out, because I'm just so thankful to have them in my life. I couldn't ask for more when it comes to parents. And then I have 3 brothers and a sister. I work at a company called Colliers International. And my job there is account operations, which means that I am doing everything to make the account run. So I'm looking at the financials to make sure that we're going to be profitable for the year. I'm looking at resourcing. I'm looking at governance. Really like all aspects of it. It's not like running a business, but I'm not. I didn't secure the business, but I am making sure the business runs, that the company is profitable, and that we're feeding revenues to our broader company. So it's really challenging, and it's very exciting. I feel like I'm learning a lot of new stuff all the time. One side I have of is diversity and inclusion, which oh my gosh, it's really like a really hard part of my job, just because it means so much to me. Like, but it's also like talking to people who don't want to have training around diversity and inclusion. Like, we did this 2 years ago. Why are we doing this again? But some people are very excited about it, but some people are not. There's also finding new diverse suppliers. So working with people who are diverse and making sure that we are hitting a revenue target with them as well. So do that too. And also, I'm on a nonprofit board for a school called Sankofa Montessori. If anybody who has a kindergartner or a first grader coming up soon in the Jonesboro area, please call me or DM me or whatever you want to do. It's going to be a great school, so it's going to be a great opportunity. Your child will be blessed by this amazing school that's coming along the way. So
put it in the chat. We'll make sure you get connected with you get the right information if you're interested.
Please. So,
I love that.
Things, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So many hats.
Yes.
So many hats that you wear. And I like the little dig that you threw at me. I was like, listen, I was just trying to be prepared.
You were excellent. You did
And then you had the best game too.
beautiful.
I was like,
It
wow.
was beautiful. It really was.
I just, I knew the wordsmith. Maya was after me, and I did not want to
I didn't even talk about that.
choke.
I was nervous.
I was like, let me just write out my thoughts so I'm not stumbling over my words and I don't forget to say. And Ryan is a words of affirmation type of person. So I was like, let me make sure to write it out so I don't forget. But I was like, I felt those eyes look at me when I pulled it out of my back pocket. Like, oh,
we were like, oh, snap.
And then sometimes like, oh, you got 4 paragraphs.
It was a lot of paragraphs. I was leaning in, y'all. I was like, what font is that? That's really a lot of words. But go ahead.
So, Alfie, you wear so many different hats. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're able to support all of those different people that are in your life, your loved ones, Sean, your co-workers? How do you support all of those different people?
Well, honestly, I will say sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing it well. I feel like I'm trying my best, but I have a lot of different relationships. But what I do try to do is make sure I'm engaging with all of them. Make sure I'm listening first. Try to figure out what's going on with them. Especially with Noah, who's 4, just trying to figure out what she needs and where she is, what's going on with her friends and her life, and who she doesn't like this week and who she does like, what she's learning, what she's, trying to figure out. My parents, I love them, just checking in on them. They're down in Augusta, but want to make sure that they're okay and they're, everything's fine with them. My friends, friends are different though, because like you're getting supported when you're talking to them too. So it's really just about trying to listen and see where you can pitch in and see where you can help support others. I feel very blessed. I have so many wonderful people around me. I feel just like overly blessed with just so much love and support around me. Like I'd feel like a bad person if I didn't try to do the same thing for other people. So I think that's my goal, is just trying to help.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was just going to point out real quick. I just love the fact that you said that you start with listening. I think that's a skill that is so underutilized in a lot of relationships and how important it is. So I just want to share that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Out of all those different hats, what would you say is the most challenging hat to wear? And why would you think it's the most challenging?
Right now it's my job. It's striking that balance of doing well at your job, but also keeping your family first is really, really tough. Right now in my industry, I'm in commercial estate. There's a lot of cuts going on right now. A lot of companies are losing money because of a lot of people are saying, well, people have been working from home for a long time. We don't need these offices anymore, so we can get rid of them. And so commercial estate is taking a huge hit. And this week, 3 of my friends have been laid off. And so from my company. And so seeing them not have jobs right now and reaching out to them via LinkedIn or via text and saying, hey, saw the news. Because my company doesn't tell you. You just get an email and it says, so-and-so is no longer with the company.
Oh, wow.
So it's devastating. So then I started just putting names like, is so-and-so still here? So anyway, that's tough because then you start to feel like, well, what about us? What if this happens to our family? And it just kind of is terrifying to be honest. And so you feel like you have to put in more work. So then the first day it happened this week, I really kind of got very stuck because I was very concerned about family. But I think towards the end of the night, towards bedtime, I feel like the Holy Spirit said to me, even if this happens to you, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. I'll be here. So I think that's been, that's challenging though. Still, you're still like, I gotta put in this work to make sure we have a check. So, so that I think that's the tough balance, is making sure that you're doing well at your job, but you're also, because I work from home, so like once I get Noah, I want to hone in and make sure that we're having our conversations, we're having dinner together, we're having time together. But then honestly, once I put her to bed, I still go back on and do a couple more emails. So it was bad.
And that's a tough one. Yeah. I find that challenging in my life too.
Yeah.
That balance of making sure that you are 100% there for your family, for your kids, for your husband, and then also trying to thrive and shine and stuff on your job. Right. And it's very tough to figure out that balance so that you're like in a healthy spot where you're not like overextending in one area and then another area is lacking. I find it very, very challenging for me.
One thing, go ahead. I was just going to say one thing that I heard both of y'all say, which I think is a tool that helps in finding that balance, is whatever you're focusing on, you're fully present in that moment. So if you're working, you're working. Yeah. You know, if you've picked up your kids and you're with your kids, you're with your kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that is a tool that I know I personally have found, even without children. If I'm logged off, I'm fully present with whatever else I'm doing. Yeah. If I'm logged on, I'm fully present with whatever I'm doing in that moment, because I'm able, as I'm fully present, I'm able to be exponentially more productive in whatever I'm focused on in that moment. Yeah. And then when I have to switch gears, I switch gears. So, but I love how y'all both said that.
I was going to ask both of you, did you see your moms, what their balance was or how they were able to balance?
I think my mom struggled, with that balance. She was a busy bee, hard worker, always working, and didn't really have time. She tried to make time for us, but showing up to basketball games, volleyball games, or track meets or any school functions, it wasn't usually anybody there for me, throughout my high school, except for on senior night they showed up. But it was just hard because they had to work all the time, and my dad worked, and I understood why. But my teachers and my coaches would say, "Well, where's your family? You did so good tonight. You scored so many points, and you need to play in college." They were rooting for me. And I always felt I wish somebody would be in the stands. And I think that's kind of partially why I have my father rooms too, because then my biological dad was somewhere else in the world too. And if he was helping financially more, maybe my parents could have had more time to spend with me. So, I understood why it was not balanced. And I knew that once I had a family that I personally would want more balance so that I could show up to my kids' functions and be present, and they would see me. I really like the pros for my job working from home is definitely a plus for me, because I'm able to if I need to start some laundry or start the crock pot for dinner, I'm able to do all those things and still work at the same time. So that's where I am right now. As far as going up in my company, I know it's not this season, but maybe once they get a little older, maybe. But they keep asking me different things. I'm baby steps, baby steps. I know I could do more, but if I do more, that means that's less time over here, and I'm not in a position or a season in my life, and I recognize that. So
those years are so important. So kudos to both y'all for just being present. You know, I don't know how my mom did it, but she was present as a single parent. She was present, and I was active. I was in all kinds of. I wasn't as athletic. I did a couple sports just to see if I liked it, but arts was really my thing. So every play, every concert, every whatever, she was there, like cheering me on. I will say though, my mom had an incredible village, and to this day, that remained to be my village. Like at times, you know, I know we were staying with aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, to the point where now that both of my parents have passed on, they are like my second set of parents because we've grown up just in that regard. And my cousins are more like my siblings because we grew up together literally. So I know that my aunts and uncles supported my mom in that regard. And my father, although he was not physically present in my home, he was financially there. So I don't know if my mom reached out if she needed something, but he was, you know, paying child support. So there was that financial support as well. But I will also say I distinctly remember being, you know, really young and going to bed and my mom going to work at night. Like literally our apartment, I think, was behind a Burger King. And she literally took on a night shift to supplement our income. And she was like, she right up there. I'm about to hit up this Burger King and work out whatever I need to work out. And to me, that just speaks to the fact that, and I'm specifically going to say Black women do whatever they need to do to get stuff done. There was no pride. There was no shame. It was, I'm going to do what I need to do to feed my family, to take care of my kids. And then I'm going to get up the next morning, work my other job, you know, drop my child off at school or whatever. So my mom did what she needed to do, but I am so glad that she made it a priority to be present. And I, like I said, to this day, I don't know how she did it, but she was my number one cheerleader growing up. And so I'm so grateful for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely appreciate my parents, you know, for the sacrifices that they did make.
Yeah.
Because we didn't lack, even though there was a lot of kids, like 6 of us in the house. Yeah. So like, you know, they worked 2-3 jobs sometimes just to make ends meet. So like, I definitely appreciate them. Like I now that I have a family of my own and it's rather large, like I get it. Like I totally get it. Which is why I think they stress the importance of us. Like, your number one job is to go to school, make good grades. Because listen, you guys are gonna have to. If you want to go to college, you're gonna have to figure out how to pay for it.
That's real.
But you need to do something.
Yeah.
So I think that stuck with me as well. And then I really like what you said about the village. Like, you guys are part of our village, and we need our village to raise these kids. We definitely need our village, and I just appreciate you guys for being our kids' village.
We love it.
So, Alfie, what would you say is your favorite hat to wear? Which hat do you love the most, and why?
I think you guys can guess which hat is my favorite, but it is definitely being Noah's mom. Oh my goodness, she's a joy to me. Like one of my friends was here last weekend, and she was talking about how she liked her kids just as people. I like Noah just as a person. Like, she's just very unique to me. She has questions. They're very interesting questions. But she's just a very loving person, and she's been a complete blessing to our family. So I was thinking about this recently, actually. Did you guys realize this was 5 years ago that we went to that Track Stars retreat? Do y'all remember that? And it's up in North Georgia Mountain. So to give some context, Sean and I were having some trouble having Noah, or having a baby. We, at that point, had 3 miscarriages. And I was just kind of getting close to giving up, because it was just mentally, I just couldn't understand what was happening. It was really, really hard. Like, it was defeating to think like that we couldn't get past this stage as far as a baby. And so we went to this retreat with Track Stars, and y'all have been supporting us as always, holding us up. And I remember I think you asked, like, what are we praying for right now? And at the time, Sean was praying for life, because we were having these challenges, and his father, unfortunately, was battling cancer, and we have lost him, and I do miss him, and I'm very sad that he's no longer with us. But so he was praying for life for both reasons. And I remember talking about this challenge with the babies, and I just boo-hoo cried, like I ugly cried in the bathroom. And y'all just really supported me and held me down. And Chris prayed for my womb that we have a successful pregnancy, and now she is here. And so I'm just so thankful for my village. We're missing Crystal, but she was there.
Yes.
Yeah, just so thankful for y'all. Like that was a very rough period. Just having the love and support of y'all is everything. So for her to be here now, she's 4 years old. Just such a blessing to our families. Like she just sprinkles a lot of joy in the room when she walks in the room.
Yes.
So just very thankful. That was it. She's taught me a lot too. Like she's no joke. Like she's taught me a lot about myself, about life, about everything. So I'm just very thankful that she's here. So she's around the corner somewhere.
Yeah,
I know you may hear her, y'all. She's like, "Where's my mama?"
I remember the vision board that you guys put together on the retreat.
Yes.
And I think you guys had a picture of a baby on the vision board. I remember tearing up and crying with you. I don't know if I was like, I'm sure I told Ryan I was crying in the room. I did, I try not to cry around other people so much. But
I broke down.
But we are just so thankful for little Noah. She is such a precious, and my kids love Noah.
She loves your daughters. Yes, she's like my sister.
I was telling Ryan like we need to do more play dates with Noah.
For sure.
Yes,
love
for
that.
sure.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Girl, I was crying. I'm about to cry now.
I know.
All right, y'all. We're about to move into story time. Did you have anything else over the house we wear? Oh, my Lord. All right. So story time with Mrs. Grant, y'all. So a lot of people always ask, of course, we already mentioned this, they ask, okay, I'll get the review. Where's Alfie? Blah, blah, blah. We know you thrive behind the scenes. You do such an amazing job supporting others, but really want to hear from you regarding some of the specific people that you support. Namely your husband. You actually mentioned him earlier, the amazing Sean David Grant, and all the hats that he wears. But also want to just highlight the fact that he is a small business owner, and he's a creative. I mean, like, just the way his brain works still baffles me, but just an amazing man of God. And so want to talk with you a little bit about what is it like supporting an entrepreneur, because that I'm sure has its own challenges in and of itself.
It does. And I think it's because, so like Tori just said, I come from the old school where it's like you go to school, you get a job, you do good at your job, and then you retire, and then you ride off into the sunset. So I think to have an entrepreneur's mindset is totally different than that. I'm very risk averse. Like I'm trying not to. I'm never trying to like have a problem. Sean, his brain is very different than mine. He's very intelligent. He's creative and he's scientific. And I'm wowed by how he is able to process things. But because he has more of an entrepreneurial mindset and he doesn't seem to be concerned with the risks that I'm concerned with, that does pose challenges, because while I'm worried about like, what are we going to do about retirement? What are we going to do about Noah's college fund? I'm not saying he's not worried about it. He's not worried about it. It's like, it's going to happen. And I'm like, we have to do these things and we have to follow these steps. And he's just not that way. So, I mean, it's tough. I will say it's very tough. But just like anything else, it requires a lot of communication, a lot of patience. I think, on both ends, because we're very, very different in that regard as far as how we see our future. I know, and it came up during your game where I think you asked, what's something you're scared of, or
what's your spouse's biggest fear?
And I put him not going full time as an entrepreneur, because I know that's a huge fear of his. And so that's just something that we're still communicating on. I think it has to, because we're one. So whatever's decided, we'll be there together. I think I try my best to support him in the way it is right now, where he's working full time at Siemens and doing track stars, and make sure that I'm supporting him mentally. And if he's not feeling well, like I think sometimes he doesn't understand how much stress he puts on himself. So me reminding him, hey, maybe we should go see a doctor. or hey, maybe we should try this to make sure that you're feeling 100%. I don't know. I try my best to be supportive of him in different ways. Before Noah, before COVID, I think we all were a little bit more active in the studio and doing shows. I think the last show we did was probably Rick's and Sears.
Yeah, his album release.
Yeah. So we would be there and actually doing things, but things are a little bit different now. But yeah, I just try to be as supportive as I can for him.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think the number one thing that you mentioned is communication and how that is an ongoing tool. Yeah. So are there any other tools or things that you do to help address those challenges as they come up?
So recently, I would say, a couple of years ago, I started seeing a therapist personally. So I started seeing a therapist, which has been amazing for me, especially after the miscarriages. And I will say that there were some things that were in my mind that I was telling myself that were not true related to the miscarriages. So she was great for helping me to get past those things and stop having those self-defeating negative thoughts. Recently, she started saying, hey, I'm starting to do a thing where I'm seeing couples.
Wow.
And so now Sean has joined me for a few sessions.
All right. How's that going?
It's very, very interesting to have him in front of this woman because she's old school. Like, she's an old school kind of woman. She's Christian, but she's old school. So she's kind of direct, but also very sweet with him. She loves Sean. She's made that very clear.
Everybody, look at the eyes. She's rolling her eyes.
Like, everybody loves him.
A lot of people love Sean, yes.
Everybody loves him. And so, like, I told her before we started, I was like, listen, like, I was here first. Like, we're friends. When he comes, do not switch on me.
Yeah, you should be on my
side. And like 7th session, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I just love you. I love Sean." And I was like, "We talked about this." But so yeah, but it's very, very. It's been good to have a third party.
Yes.
To listen to both sides of our story and to like, because sometimes you can miss each other in conversation. You're saying one thing. He has his point, and we keep missing each other. And for her to be the one to be like, I think y'all are pretty much saying the same thing. You're just saying it different, or just like filling that gap where we're just missing each other. It's been really, it's been really good. And I feel like I was always told you're not supposed to have, or not supposed to talk to anybody about your marriage, and keep it to yourself and all that. I get why people say that, but I think having her now is. It's been really good. So I think everybody should have a therapist just for your own health. I think it's just as important as having a physical or like a primary care or whatever. I think your mind can mess up your body if you let it long enough to tell you the wrong thing. So please get a therapist.
That's so good.
If you find one you like, I mean, I love her. She's my friend.
It's so good to just have, I think, an objective person that is on the outside looking in. Because we get just bogged down with everything. We in our feelings. We have already, been tainted by whatever perceptions or thoughts we have just with ourselves. And then with marriage, it's important to have that third party as well. I know Chris and I have benefited from having just a third party on the outside looking in saying, hey, even just with something as simple as communication. Because literally we'll say the same thing back and forth and just be missing each other. And literally somebody else will be like, oh, he means so-and-so. And I'm like, can you just move in with us? Because I am struggling. I did not understand that. Like literally having that third party. So, but having a third party to help you think objectively without getting caught up in your emotions, without getting, caught up on, well, he did such and such, or this happened, or I'm still feeling a certain type of way about this. Like literally somebody to just be objective. So,
and one thing that she pointed out to me recently was, she was like, you're very direct when you speak. She's like, you speak very directly. She's like, I'm not saying you're rude. She's like, but I'm just saying you speak almost in business terms sometimes when you're speaking to him. She was like, you're speaking to your husband. And she's like, you're speaking to your husband whose love language is words. And so you need to be a little bit more honey and a little less. Vinegar is how she put it. But I was like, I don't know if I'm vinegar, but yeah. So I think that was a really big point for me because I didn't think about it that way. I do structure my conversations when I'm talking to him, so I'm trying to get my point across. Y'all know he's smart, and so like he could come with some
Yeah,
real. So I'm just like, let me make sure I'm prepared. But
you like, what you got? Come on.
But I can get her point that if I'm coming at him like this, and
Yeah.
I'm his wife,
Yeah.
it can get totally missed in translation. So that's been really big.
I think you have. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yes, communication is big. I would say you don't. I think it's good to have a therapist because it's not your friend.
Yes.
And there's no bias.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So, I'll be like, Alfie girl, what? What?
We got your back.
You know,
What girl?
yeah, Ryan, you need to call Sean. You know. So I think it's important.
Yeah.
Yes,
For
very,
sure.
very.
For sure.
All right, y'all. You know, we can go on and on. We're going to wrap up story time with words of wisdom. So, first off, can you share with us some words of wisdom that you received growing up regarding family? It could be regarding faith. It could be regarding career, or all of the above.
So I'm the last of 13 grandchildren. So I'm very fortunate to have, well, on my dad's side at least. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of words of wisdom around me. Something that I've been reflecting on a lot lately is something my father said to me about children. He said to me that the best teacher for a child is her parent. And he was talking about, because my father used to be a physics teacher, and he was saying how a teacher, has 30 kids, and they're going to give that child a good foundation and all that, but those 30 kids have unique ways of learning and unique ways of understanding.
Yes.
And they don't have enough bandwidth to address each child's unique way of learning. So making sure that you spend enough time with them at home to engage with them, understand what they're learning at school, what they're not learning, what they're not getting, or what they maybe have a focus on. Like maybe they like math, or maybe they like science, and helping to explore that more. So I'm seeing that a lot now with Noah. I know she's 4, but like I think when I sit down with her doing a puzzle, like she really likes that. She likes the engagement and likes learning how to figure it out together. So I really have been thinking about that a lot lately, about making sure that I'm doing my part in her learning every day. So Toy, I'm sure you know that as a teacher.
Yes, yes. And they want us to differentiate and meet the needs of all the students. And it's very difficult.
Yeah, I'm like, how many students do you
have?
In
total, I teach a total of like 436 across,
I didn't think it was gonna be
across 4 different preps.
Wow.
So
that's
can I really meet the needs of 436?
Yeah.
No, you figure it out. It's a choice board. If you're a visual learner, pick that. If you're a hands-on learner, pick that.
Amen.
If you prefer to write linguistic, pick that. Give them choices. But that's, it's hard. Yeah, we're supposed to differentiate, but it is hard. Yeah. You definitely need to know your kids' learning styles.
Yes.
I can already tell Mason, he is musical.
Oh
my goodness. He absolutely loves the piano. Oh my goodness. He gravitates to that piano, and he is learning the sounds of the piano, and he can barely even talk, and then he's trying to sing with the notes, and I'm like, he is going to be musical.
The wheels are turning.
And so I've learned. I'm already learning now. Like when I want him to say a word, I have to kind of sing it with a tune, and then he tries to do it. I'm like, okay, so that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to sing to get him, talking, because he's a boy, so their verbal skills come a little bit later than the girls. But I'm like, man, my girls are like chatty Cathy's already, and he's just like, Ma, eat. I want to eat. He says simple words. I'm like, come on, talk to me.
3 older sisters, they're doing all the talking for him.
All of it. I'm like, Mason, you have to talk.
Yeah.
And we teach him sign language too, so he does some signs like milk, give me milk. I want milk. He's a musical learner, and just like learning their different styles. Oh my goodness, Ryla, she's into math, like just learning how they learn is key to teaching them, and it's so very important. So I definitely can relate.
So good. That's so good. Sure. Any other words of wisdom you want to share that you've received?
Just going back to what I said earlier, the whole even if I think that's really been sticking with me lately. So the whole even when we were going through that whole pregnancy trial, the whole what if I never, or what if this doesn't happen, realizing that even if people will be there, I think that's really just sticking with me right now. That's been running around in my head because of everything going on with my job. So I want to make sure I reiterate that one. Good
word. And then on the flip side of that, any words of wisdom that you want to share with our BE community?
I just want to share that if you have some negative thoughts in your head about yourself, work to get those things out of your head, because it really is not true. Wow. It's not true. It took me a long time to believe that. I think at one point I thought, well, if I talk down to myself, it'll motivate me to be better some kind of way, which doesn't make sense. But I just want to put that out there, that if you have some sort of negative thought in your head, do what you can to get it out. My therapist told me if I have a negative thought, to write it down, and then to write down what's true about myself, and to just keep doing that over and over again until those thoughts just dissipate and just stop. So I think that's really important, to make sure that, because the world's going to tell you things about yourself.
Absolutely.
That's just life. That's just what it is. But it really isn't going to help you. So I really hope, I don't want anybody to go through that where they're just talking to themselves in ways that are just terrible. So
that's so good. Positive affirmations, y'all. And speak them, like verbally speak them. You know, it may seem corny, it may seem like you doing the most, but like, you do what you need to do to make sure you straight up here, because the world is crazy.
Well, I'm telling you what's corny.
Go ahead.
What's corny is I made a Pinterest board of what the Lord says about me. When I hear these things, I'll look up and say in the Bible and say, what is what the Lord thinks of me? So if He says it, then that really can't be true. So I'm gonna be corny.
Hey, if that's corny, then you call me corny too. Okay? No, that's really good. Yeah. Really good. Oh wow. All right. Anything else for words of wisdom before we go into top picks?
I don't think so.
Okay. Anything you recommend that you're watching, that you're reading, that you're listening to, that you want our BE community to know about?
I'm a big podcast person, so I really do listen to podcasts a lot. My favorite right now are Planet Money. At one point, I was listening to Planet Money so much, I thought I should be an economist. Like, I really, really like it. Like, it really helps you understand concepts of money that
I love it.
You don't, of course, you don't learn in school. I mean, of course you don't, but just things that kind of are out there that seem kind of really hard, but they really do break it down in a very easy way. I listen to something called Rewatchables, which is like, it's just going over a movie that you may have read or seen in the past. I'm a big reality TV person. That might be my biggest downfall. So a lot of shows that
guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. So a podcast that cover those shows, like Married at First Sight. There's one called Are You My Podcast? It may have some not so great words, but it covers those things, like Real Housewives of Potomac. So yeah, those are my guilty pleasures.
I do indulge in Married at First Sight too. So have you been watching this current season?
I can't get into it. I listen to the podcast, but I don't watch the show.
I feel like it's just really moving slow. It's not as like interesting as some of the other previous seasons.
Is it the city, or is it like, what's the problem, you think?
I think it's the matches. Like the couples, they don't seem very interesting. Yeah.
I watched all the seasons except for this one. So,
how many seasons are there now?
Ooh, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Oh wow,
that's a lot. It's just
It's on Netflix now. I saw.
Oh really?
Yeah, I just glanced and saw Married at First Sight. I guess it's gonna be on Netflix now.
Wow.
Okay. You can go back and watch.
Oh, ma'am. Straight, but y'all continue to connect and vibe on that, and I'll be over here. So, any other top picks you have?
I think that's it. I mean, yeah, podcasts are my thing.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah,
Cool.
sorry.
No, this is great. This is great. All right, so it's time for our noble character presentation. And normally we actually ask our guests to highlight a woman that they want to shout out and give praise to. But this month, we are featuring our guests as women of noble character. So shout out to the amazing Alfie Grant.
So
You are a woman of noble character. You are. You really are. You
So
sorry. Girl, the earrings. The earrings. No, it's okay. We're almost
really
done.
nice.
But girl, literally, you are a woman of noble character.
Thank
and
you.
just from the inside out, from the moment I met you, you've always been just an incredibly authentic, faith-filled woman of substance. And you have not wavered from that, as you've become a wife, as you've become a mother, you've always been, an amazing businesswoman from what I've known of you, and even now as you're taking on different roles with, being on the board for the charter school and just all the amazing different things that you do that people don't see, that people don't know about. I mean, you just sending us an article or joining us for our retreat and really diving in and saying, oh, you guys, this would be great. Or have we thought about that? Like, you support in such amazing ways. Just calling and saying, hey, I was thinking about you this week. You don't have to call me back. I just want to let you know. That's amazing. And just diving into Maya as a person. I think I've shared that my defense mechanism is to always ask other people how they're doing, but you don't let me get away with that. You be like, no, so how are you? Well, what's going on with this? Well, what's going on with that? And before I know it, I'm boo-hooing like, oh Lord. And then when I was 3, like literally, you're very intentional about the relationships that you have. And so I just want to thank you for being an amazing friend to me, an amazing supporter to Becoming Eva. So, but go ahead, Toya. I know you got a bunch to share too. I don't want to take a lot of time.
Again, the wordsmith over there.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't have the sheet of paper. So this is just gonna be straight off the dome.
We got you.
But I will say, since the first time I met you, I was like, ooh, like she is good for Sean.
Yes.
When I first met you,
Yes.
I think I was already dating Ryan, of course.
Yep.
And I just appreciate your love of Sean, your love and support of track stars, of Becoming Eva, your love and support of me being Ryla's godmother.
Yes.
You have been like her number one support, like since day one, since she was here. Oh, Auntie Alfie and Uncle Sean, they got me like this kid. Like you have been there for her since she was born, and she's like 9. I can't believe she's 9. So I just truly appreciate how you guys have shown up for her, going to like when she was doing dance and Sean showed up at the dance recital with flowers and teddy bear, and like I was like, man, we didn't bring anything, and Sean is like, that's why they're chanting Uncle Sean. They just love it. But we just appreciate just your support over our family, over all of our kids, really, and all of your prayers, and we're so thankful for you. So happy to have you in our lives, and we just want to celebrate you. And I just appreciate you being transparent today, sharing your challenges that you've experienced through your marriage and through motherhood. Thank you for being transparent and giving people hope. Today. So I love you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. I love you guys for real. Like, this is really sweet of you guys. This means a lot coming from you too. Like, thank you so much. I'm truly honored. So thank you.
We mean every word, and we could take up the whole show talking about why, but we're not. But we'll save that for another time. So, but yes, Toya, you want to close us out?
Yes. So did you want to tell them about the events?
Yes. All right. So here's the deal, y'all. Okay, and y'all may have heard we went on an amazing planning. It was actually a planning spa retreat because we got a little bit of pepper time in there.
Just a little bit,
but it was fabulous. So we were thinking like, hey, this will be great for the BE community. So we're wondering if you would be interested in participating in a spa retreat weekend. Now, there are other things that we could do, conferences, open mic nights. We've done a book club in past years. So there are plenty of other things that we could do if you're interested. But all that to say, we want to hear from you. So there is a link that is going to be in the chat. If it's not already, it's going to pop up, and we want you to check out. We want you to complete that survey. Complete it, please. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. I mean, we're asking general questions too about our segments that we do, what you've enjoyed thus far. We want suggestions from you. If there's a topic that we haven't already talked about that you want to hear about, or you want to hear more about, or somebody we had on that you really enjoyed, or somebody we haven't had and you're like, oh, it would be great if they had so-and-so. Like, we want to hear from you. So we want you to complete that survey. We want you to let us know what you think. And then, yes, we'll circle back with you on whether or not we'll be able to host or facilitate anything like that for you this year. So.
Yes. And join us next time. We are featuring women this month.
Yes.
Her story.
Yes.
So join us next time. You'll have to stay tuned for that special guest announcement.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast app. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Becoming Eva Today. Don't forget to get your merch at becomingevatoday.com, our website. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for joining us.
We're going to smile while we wait to stop the broadcast. But we love y'all and just want to say we're here if y'all need anything. We're still figuring out this studio thing. So we might have to edit some stuff. So, but when you're able to drink a